Hi, scientists. So today we are starting our very first unit of science, and I'm really excited. It is brand new, and it's all about plant and animal relationships. So we are going to be working on this all together throughout the fall, and I can't wait to be a scientist with you. We're going to be reading and thinking about the question and then answering the question of what living and non-living things are in your local habitat. So there's a lot of new words and information in that question. So let's talk about what that means. So first of all, a habitat. If you've ever heard of the word or if you know what the word habitat means, you can show a thumb at your heart. So a habitat is a place where an animal or a plant lives and gets what it needs. So if we think about a bird, for example, if we see a bird in the park and it's living in a tree with its nest in the tree, that's its habitat. So the past couple of weeks, we've been working on making observations, scientific observations, where we notice and think about what we see in our own neighborhoods. And maybe you did this by looking at a plant in your house. Maybe you did this when you went out for a walk. Maybe you did this by looking at a tree through your window. There was lots of different things. So some of the things that you all noticed and observed, the non-living things that people saw, was the moon. So we think about at night, we can see the moon, and that's a non-living thing. There's also things, if you look at the background, there's water. Water is a non-living thing we can find in our habitat. Same with rocks. Can you think of any other non-living things in your habitat? Now, let's talk about some living things. There were so many different drawings that I saw. It was hard to choose, but it seems like someone did a scientific observation on a crab, which is very cool. They have their colors, it's detailed and big, it's got labels. There were some people who observed butterflies and flowers and trees and bees and daisies and even a dragonfly. So I know that there are a lot of things that we can observe in our neighborhood, even here in San Francisco. And then there was lots of plants. Lots of folks did observations on plants. So I saw a lot of tree pictures, and look at this one even has the roots underneath it. This person looks like they observed a plant in their house, and they have all of the different parts of it. They included the planter, the stalks, the flowers, all the stems. And same with this person, they also included lots of different details of the the tree that they were observing. So these are the living things that we have here in our habitat, our local habitat, that are plants. So while we're studying as scientists, we're going to be plant scientists, which there's a very special word called botanists. Can you say botanist? Botanist. And we're going to start making our own observations of plants and making an investigation. We're going to be investigating. What does that mean to investigate something? So it's when we try to learn more about something. We could investigate plants, we could investigate the sky, we could investigate animals, we could investigate a person. There's lots of things that we can investigate because it just means we want to learn more about it. So plant scientists, or botanists as we learned, investigate plants to answer questions about those plants in the spaces or the habitats where they live. So that's what we're going to be doing. We'll work as scientists, plant scientists, to answer this question. How do the living things in a habitat need each other? Now, you live with your family, I live with my family, and when we live together, we need different things. Just like we need food, we need water, we need a place to sleep, and we, in a family, work together to help each other have those things. Kind of have to think about our habitats, our nature that we have right outside where we are, that they also need to work together to eat food, to drink water, to get enough sun. So let's let's start thinking about this question, and how do plants and animals and other living things in a habitat need each other? So what we're going to do as botanists, and what plant scientists do when they study habitats, is we're going to identify or find a sample study site. It sounds really fancy, I know, but we're all going to be able to find one. So it's a small area, small of a habitat to focus on, where we're really going to be observing. So we're going to each be investigating our own sample site. So everyone's going to have a different sample site. And the reason for this is to observe the plants and animals that live near us. So if you take a second and remember back to last week, we read the book, A Scientist's Notebook, about nature. And in that, we got to read the journal of an actual scientist who made a sample study site. Do you remember in the book where we saw the picture that the scientists actually put string around a small oak tree, and that was their sample study site? So we're going to be doing something kind of similar to that. So you and someone at home, maybe an adult, maybe an older brother or sister or somebody else, are going to investigate a habitat near you. It could be a field if you have a field near you, a park maybe. If you can't go outside, maybe it's a park that you can look at from your window. I'm lucky, I have a park right outside my window. It could even be a crack in the sidewalk. If you don't have a park or a field near you, it could be just a tree that's outside of your home somewhere. So everyone's going to get a chance to observe a habitat near them. And your first assignment as botanists is going to be to set up your sample study site. So with an adult, if you're going outside with an adult, I want you to set up your sample study site by deciding where it's going to be, deciding what you're going to be observing there. So if it's a big tree on the sidewalk, that's your sample study site. If it's somewhere in a park, choose one small area where you're going to be looking and you're going to be finding who knows what. And then in your notebooks, just like we've been practicing doing, you're going to be making some scientific observations and drawings. Now remember, as scientists, we're looking for a few different things. And my friends who are in rooms 101 and 102, we learned about this in Spanish. So the words are going to be different, but you're still going to be working on the same things. So remember your A, B, C, Ds, and E's of scientific drawing. A is for accurate, meaning that you're not drawing what you think something looks like, you're drawing what it actually looks like. So maybe we think a flower has yellow petals, but maybe they're actually orange, and we only know that when we look at the petals. B is for big. It's too hard to see an observation if it's tiny on the page. We want really big drawings that fill the whole page of your science notebook. C is for colorful. Remember, if a flower has yellow petals, you think it has yellow petals, but it actually has orange petals. We want to be able to see that. That's why we use colors. D is for detailed. That means that you have all the little parts that a flower has in your drawing. And E, explained. That means that you put labels on your drawings. That means that maybe you write a small short paragraph to explain what it is you drew. I'm going to show you what on Seesaw it looks like that you're going to be doing. So you're going to have this assignment here. It's called your sample study site. And you're going to look at this template. Your first task is to draw the plants, and if you have animals, if you're lucky to have animals, draw the animals as well that you see in your study site using those A, B, C, D, E's that we just went over of a scientist. Make sure that you label your drawing. The second thing you're going to do in your science notebook, and everyone should be doing this in their science notebook, not on Seesaw, because we can't do really detailed and really precise drawings on Seesaw. So the second thing is to make this table in your notebook, just like the scientists in the book that we read last week had a table in their notebook. We are also going to have one. So on one side, I want you to make a list of the living things that you see. So it could be grass, it could be tree roots, it could be flowers, it could be butterflies, bees, whatever you see. And then on the other side, I want you to make a list of the non living things that you see. Do you see rocks? Do you see water? Can you see sunlight from there? All of those things are the non living things. And make sure you write down everything you see so that you remember. And this is all that we're working on, making our scientific observations of plants. All right, you know what to do, so go ahead and get started.